Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So in yesterday's class, we were discussing about cellular and tissue changes. I was talking about what are selectants, molecular interaction, how it occurs between cells, and whether the molecules are important and which play a role in interaction between cells as such. And we talked about compartmentalization of cell injury based on causes. So how do you divide cell injury based on causes? We told that there are two main causes. It can either be inherited causes, wherein there is a problem in the chromosomal structure or in the number of chromosomes that a person has, or it can be an acquired cause. Now, acquired causes vary quite a lot, and I told you about 7 different causes, which are categorized under acquired causes. Today, we'll look at what is cell injury. Specifically, we'll look at reversible and irreversible cell injury. Right after that, we'll do cell adaptation. First of all, coming to reversible cell injury. The reversible cell injury, as the name suggests, is reversible in the sense that you can recover very quickly from it. Right? Even if it is not extremely quick, you can recover from it. There is a good scope that you will recover from it without any, proper lasting effects. For example, reversible injury को आप बोल सकते हैं any cut or wound or contusion that you get. Right? Let's suppose a child is running around and they fall down. Right? They bruise their leg or they bruise their knee, and there's a little bit of bleeding and so on and so forth. But once you dress it, right, once you clean the wound and you give it a little bit of time, within a couple of days, you will start seeing new skin being formed, right? And it will be as good as new within a few days. Right? That comprises reversible cell injury. Now, what happens if you look at it the cellular level? In reversible cell injury, there are a few changes that you will see, ultrastructural changes. If you see in a microscope, in the cells that are undergoing this injury, this type of injury, you will see some common features. Okay, it is not present in all cells, and it is not that all of this will occur in the same cell or all of this will occur at the same time. But these are some of the normal changes that you see during reversible cell injury if someone is subjected to reversible cell injury. That is. So, first change will be distension of endoplasmic reticulum. One second. Joining in. Right. Distension of ER. Okay. Endoplasmic reticulum. Abbreviating it as ER. That is one change that you will see. Your endoplasmic reticulum will distend, it will swell. Right. And you will see mitochondrial swelling. You will be able to see in certain cases what will happen is my microvilli which are present in your intestines, those will be lost. Okay, sometimes injury specifically to gastrointestinal toxins, for example someone is having food poisoning. Okay, in that scenario there might be loss of microvilli, or there might be some other pathological condition which is causing loss of microvilli. That is categorized under reversible cell injury. Loss of microvilli. By the way, what is the importance of microvilli? Why do we need microvilli?
Movement, movement, sir.
Movement. Only movement. उससे ज़्यादा एक important function है ना? What is the job of intestines?
Ab- Absorption.
Yes. So how do microvilli help in this absorption? Why not just normal surface? Why does your body have microvilli as such?
Helps to transport, sir.
अच्छा, if you look at the surface of your, let's suppose ऐसा देखें आप, ठीक है, आपके intestinal surface पे, imagine I'm taking one cut section from here. Okay, you have to relate to physiology in this quite a lot. Okay, or else you have to keep on questioning yourself. नहीं तो बीच में बाद में doubts आता है. As you keep on building a strongest building, if you start building a bigger structure and if you don't have good foundation, you will start having cracks in that building. So यहाँ पर मैं cut section लेके, let's suppose cluster of villi ले रहे हैं. ठीक है. Each microvilli will have, अब ऐसा दिए तो आप, on each of its fold you will see like this. If you further enlarge it even further, ऐसा, you will start seeing, just 1 second guys, hold on. B1. Register to the application. ले लो इसकी कंडक्टर क्लास C1 में जो ले लो शुरू इसको ले लो। Hey, guys, sorry about that. So as I was telling you, in a cluster of microvilli, right, you will see in a single villus, you will see a structure similar to this. Now, please excuse my, drawing skills, but यहाँ पर ऐसा रहता. Now, the main purpose of creating so many folds is to increase surface area. Up to your body में, if you look at intestines, the surface area to volume is very, very high. So, generally speaking, if surface area to volume ratio, okay, volume is low compared to surface area. Why do I say that? If you see, let's suppose you cut open a person. Yeah, I don't recommend you do it unless you're a surgeon. But in case you see a surgery and you see, someone cutting open a person's stomach and abdominal cavity and opening it, and you see intestines both large and small, especially small, you will be able to see that it's a very, very, very long structure which is extremely convoluted, and it is packed in a very small space compared to its original size. I'm talking about original size in the sense that let's suppose you start reeling it out completely. Imagine आप लोग कभी इसकी helminthic surgery देखें. So sometimes what happens is people get affected by helminths, Ascaris lumbricoides, common Taenia solium. ये जो roundworm, hookworm वो रहते हैं, उसके infections हुए. So sometimes what happens is it will grow so big that you'll have to perform surgery. In that scenario, what they will do is they will cut the abdominal cavity, and at one point they will literally start reeling out the person's intestine. And once they catch the parasite that has grown, they will grow quite a lot, up to 3-4 meters they'll grow. But बहुत बड़े हो जाते. So they will cut, sorry, not 3-4 meters, 3-4 feet. So they'll cut one end and then remove the parasite. That is how the surgery goes essentially. So let's suppose you are reeling the same way. आप small intestine को reel करे तो you will find that it is very, very, very large. Okay? Rather than having a lot of volume, it has a lot of surface area. The biggest advantage of having so much surface area, it increases the area for which absorption can occur. So आप जितना खाना खाएंगे, it is subjected to that much amount of surface area. There is so much amount of real estate on which that food can be spread. So the absorption will be that much more quicker and that much more efficient. That is the main reason why microvilli exist. Obviously, they exist in to facilitate peristalsis, which you told correctly, for movement of food. But one of the main reasons, other than peristalsis, is to increase surface area so that absorption is proper. Okay, I hope you keep that in mind. Now, as I was telling you, one of the other effects of reversible cell injury is loss of microvilli, and you will start seeing focal projections of cytoplasm. So, in the microvilli itself, you will start seeing focal projections. Focal projections मतलब वो एक area में, so let's suppose this is a villus, ठीक है? यहाँ पर you will start seeing projections, abnormal projections, focal projections बोलते हैं लोगों को. That might happen, and another reversible cell injury or reversible change that occurs in reversible cell injury is change in chromatin material. So then what happens is, in case of reversible cell injury, chromatin material will become clumped. Okay, it will become fibrillar, it will become granular in certain cases, but it will be deranged. It will become segregated. It will not be normal. Just a nucleus में normally रहता, chromatin material, it will not stay the same. It will become clumpy and it will become fibrillar. You'll see a few granules here and there. Okay, and if you look at the cell in general, that the cell which is undergoing injury. So let's suppose someone is having reversible liver injury. So वहाँ के cells will start showing these features. And other than that, one second. Right. Other than all of this, if you look at the whole cell altogether under a microscope, you'll be able to see cell swelling. and in some cases, fatty change. Specifically, accumulation of fat in and around the cell. That is called steatosis. Okay, whenever fat is getting accumulated in and around the cell, that phenomena as such, fatty change, will be called steatosis. This is one of the terms that you will come across quite a lot in pathology. So steatosis is a marker of cell injury. There is something wrong, only then steatosis will be seen and cell will swell. Those two are pretty common. So these are some of the changes that will occur in reversible cell injury. I hope you understood this. If you have doubts, please feel free to ask in any part. If you have doubt in what is distension of PR or mitochondrial swelling, microvilli loss, or anything. Okay. Now, sometimes what happens is this reversible cell injury, the cause of reversible cell injury, अब जो causes of cell injury है, let's suppose physical cause ले लो, chemical cause ले लो, कोई भी cause ले लो एक. If that cause is removed, okay, in time, that is when it will cause reversible cell injury. Meaning, let's suppose, as I told you yesterday, uh, suppose you are touching something which is very hot, okay, and you do it for a very short period of time, and you immediately reflexively remove your hand. That might lead to reversible cell injury. Whereas if you are subjected to something which is very hot, for example, if hot water is poured onto you, or you accidentally, step into hot water, things like that, of that nature, or let's suppose your clothes catch fire and things like that. Someone's clothes, God forbid your clothes, but someone's clothes catch fire, and by the time they are removing the clothes, part of their skin is burned. Okay? At that time, it will become an irreversible cell injury. Okay? The progression is much more, how should I put it, advanced in a way. Right? The injury or the acute stress in this scenario is called stress. Okay? The acute stress in which the cell was not able to adapt and the cell underwent, irreversible change. So all of these changes are reversible. यहाँ पर reversible cell injury का मतलब क्या है? आप acute stress डाल रहे हैं. अब जैसा आप heat डाले या extremes of temperature, that is one cause of injury, right? If you subject one cell to extremes of temperature, or if you're not giving enough amount of food to any cell, any type of cause of injury which is acute, if that is removed after a little while, the cell will go back to normal. In most cases, sometimes it will adapt, but in most cases it will go back to normal. That is recovery. Okay. अब कभी कभी क्या होता, if you are not removing this acute stress in time, okay, before that cell is able to, there is a capacity to which your cell will be able to bear the stress. After that point, what will happen is, if this acute stress keeps on, if it stays for a longer period of time, it will lead to irreversible cell injury. So irreversible cell injury is the injury in which the cell was not able to cope with the acute stress that it was subjected to, and neither was it able to adapt. We will discuss about cell adaptations in a while, but in this scenario, the cell was not able to cope up with the acute stress, and it was not able to adapt, leading to irreversible damage in the cell. Right? Sometimes it will cause permanent change in structure and function, leading to death. Okay. The structure and function essentially आप reversible में भी देखें तो structure and function थोड़ा change हुआ, but it is reversible. यहाँ पर structure and function change होते हैं to a point where it might lead to death of the cell. All right. Now you can have several viruses से हो सकता, toxic chemicals से हो सकता, बहुत अलग-अलग causes हैं which can act as the acute stress. All right. Now two consequences are pretty common in case of irreversible cell injury. जो दो चीज़ें होते हैं. Where is the cursor? Yeah. So there are two changes that occur in case of irreversible cell injury. One is necrosis. Okay. This is generally the consequence of a catastrophic injury. So some injury which is very, very severe, or sometimes some injury which has been going on for a long period of time, either way. And apoptosis. Apoptosis is when your programmed cell death, apoptosis, your body deems one particular part of itself. So, for example, let's suppose liver failure. I'll explain briefly what is necrosis and apoptosis. You'll have it later in detail. But for now, if I tell, let's suppose the patient's liver has become necrosed. Okay, it means that one part of the patient's liver is completely dead. Okay, and there is a good chance that infection might occur in that dead area. Okay, anaerobic bacteria, they come and they can cause gangrene. All right, that is a special type of necrosis essentially. That is necrosis. एक जगह there is proper dead tissue, okay, or tissue that is almost dying and it is spreading. That is necrosis. Okay. This is generally the consequence of some severe comorbidity. The patient will have some or the other problem. After that, only necrosis will occur. Apoptosis, on the other hand, कैसा है? अब in the same scenario, imagine there are a bunch of cells which are dying or they are almost dead. They are not working properly. So according to your body, each of these cells is a worker. If you consider your whole body as a single organization, each and every cell in your body is a worker, is an employee. Okay? Let's suppose one small group of workers are not working properly. They are completely lazing around. So they will terminate their contract. In the sense, they will fire them. They will remove them from work. So यहाँ पर आपकी body is programming their death. Okay. In this sense, what will happen is this bunch of cells, this small tissue, that will be removed by your body on its own. That is apoptosis. Okay, programming the death of cell. That is apoptosis. Now, whatever the reason might be, that tissue, that small bunch of cells are not working. That is leading to their apoptosis. Necrosis is not planned. Apoptosis is. So that is one of the main differences between both of them. Right? And apoptosis, generally the cells will not, spew and they will not spread around. Necrosis, it will. Okay, it will spread around like infection in that organ itself or wherever it is affecting. Right? So I hope you understood what is reversible and irreversible cell injury. We'll go into more detail specifically in irreversible cell injury later on. But for now, we'll stop here with reversible and irreversible cell injury. Now we'll come to cell adaptations. I told you, sometimes what happens is, in case of reversible injury mostly, the cell will either go back to normal or it will adapt. It will change. Okay, those changes are categorized under cell adaptations. Now there are a couple of quite a few cell adaptations. We'll concentrate on four main types, 5 main types. Okay. Hypertrophy, hyperplasia, atrophy, aplasia, and dysplasia. Okay. We have intercellular accumulations as well, but for now we don't need to concern ourselves with that. We'll discuss these. So first of all, coming to hyperplasia, I'll show you an image so that you can easily follow around what is happening. 1 second. So from normal cell, let's suppose I'm talking about hyperplasia. यहाँ पर you can see what is hyperplasia. This. ठीक है? Hyperplasia में क्या होता? The cell is adapting to acute stress in such a way that the number of cells are increasing. Okay, the adaptation is that the cell will start dividing very, very profusely, so that the total number of cells will start increasing quite a lot. That is hyperplasia. Now, hyperplasia can be because of two main reasons. Okay, causes of hyperplasia as such can be categorized under two reasons. One is physiological. Sometimes your body needs some of its cells to undergo hyperplasia. So sometimes it is controlled division. Okay. Other times pathological hyperplasia. Pathological hyperplasia उसको बोलते हैं जब because of a diseased condition there is hyperplasia occurring in your body. Okay. So once again, hyperplasia is a cellular adaptation. When a cell is subjected to a stress, any type of acute stress, the cell is dividing profusely. Okay. The size is not increasing, nothing is happening. It's just that the cell is multiplying into several more copies of itself. Now, hyperplasia can be categorized into two types based on the cause. One is physiological, the other is pathological. Okay? Physiological can be further divided into two types. We are talking about hyperplasia. Hyperplasia, दो type का रहता है. One is pathological and the other is physiological. Okay. Physiological hypoplasia, as I told you, of two more types. Hormonal and compensatory. Okay. So, what is the difference? Hormonal hypoplasia generally occurs in response to a hormonal stimulus, okay, which is generally a part of your physiology. Physiologically speaking, how should I put it? For example, let's suppose a lady has gotten pregnant. Okay, in that scenario, what will happen is in preparation for the fetus. Okay, once fertilization has occurred, the zygote will start, you know, moving towards the uterus. At that point of time, in the cycle of menstruation itself, your uterus will start preparation. Not at that point, you've already obviously read menstruation cycle. So, you know, from 14th day onwards up to the 28th day, you know, you're, technically speaking, even from the first day itself, preparatory phase of the uterus will start. There is, you know, the uterine cycle and the ovarian cycle. In this scenario, what happens is if there is fertilization, your uterus is ready to bear a fetus. Okay. Now, at that point, you know that normally speaking, your uterus or the person's uterus, any normal person's uterus, will be around 1 centimeter thick. Okay. At the time of preparation of this thing, it will almost triple in size, sometimes even 6 times. So this will become 3 to 6 centimeters in thickness. Okay, just so that it can bear the fetus. That is because of hyperplasia and hypertrophy both. I will use the same example in hypertrophy as well. I'll give you another example for hypertrophy as well. But essentially speaking, what is happening is because your body is expecting okay, the person is about to get pregnant. Let me start preparation, and what we'll do is so that it can bear the brunt of the weight of that fetus in preparation for pregnancy for all the 9 months. Your wall, the uterine wall, will start becoming thicker and thicker. Specifically, endometrium. So endometrium initially will only be around 1 centimeter thick, and it is in during this thing, क्या बोलते हैं आपके menstruation cycle, it will become thicker, 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 thicker. In case there is, what do you call pregnancy, or if there is conception, that is used. ठीक है, आप endometrium में fetus को implant करते and your fetus starts growing there. Okay, the zygote starts growing there. In case there is no implantation, there's no fertilization, there's no implantation. What will happen is shedding will happen. So those 3 to 5 days that shedding occurs, endometrium will be lost. Okay, that is what you see. Blood के साथ जो endometrium निकाल के आपकी body फेंक देगी बाहर. At that time, in the blood, if you look at the blood in a microscope, you'll be able to see endometrial cells in it. All right. So that is one example of hormonal hyperplasia. You will have this increase in thickness facilitated by two hormones specifically, FSH and LH. So follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. These two, along with estrogen and progesterone. These four will play a very, very important role in preparation. So total uterus, see, you cannot exactly argue that it is because of only one factor. All of them will work in synchronicity. So एक के बाद एक, they keep on working, especially progesterone. They will help in maintaining the pregnancy. So it will also help in preparing the uterus for pregnancy. All right. So another example for hyperplasia is prostate gland. Again, in men, prostate gland will undergo hyperplasia. As they keep on getting older and older through age, prostate gland will become bigger. Okay? That is why there is a chance that men will get prostate cancer. There is a very good chance that men will get prostate cancer. Okay? Because normally itself, they are having a hyperplasia. Now, this is physiological hormonal type of hyperplasia, where hormones are governing whether or not hyperplasia is occurring. Then there is compensatory hyperplasia. Compensatory hyperplasia, वो hyperplasia को बोलते हैं जब there is compensation. Now, what does that compensation mean? Imagine someone has donated their liver or part of their liver. Okay, imagine there is a liver transplant, not a liver transplant, technically yeah, a liver transplant, but imagine a father is giving a part of the liver to a son or vice versa, whatever it is. ठीक है? Imagine इतना कट करके, let me try it with a different color. Imagine the red part is being donated and the green part is being retained by the original donor. Okay. अब जब भी आप डोनेट कर देते, this liver tissue in both the recipient and the donor will start undergoing hypoplasia. This is compensatory hypoplasia, especially in case of donor. अब technically speaking, आप एक बार डोनेट करने के बाद इतना part of the liver is gone. तो क्या होता? It will start regenerating. Now bear in mind that it will not go back to 100%. This one point you need to understand. तो यहाँ पर डोनेट करने से पहले एक डोनर के पास 100% स्ट्रक्चर था एंड 100% फंक्शन था. ठीक है? So for this example, we'll use it in number of cells. Okay? Imagine that the whole liver contained 1000 cells. ठीक है? मतलब 1000 cells were part of the structure and 1000 cells were functioning as 1000 cells. ठीक है? You'll understand in a bit. So 1000 cells थे, 1000 cells का structure बना रखे and it was producing the function equal to 1000 cells. So that is equal to 100% of the liver. Now let's suppose the person has donated the liver and 40% of the liver is gone. ठीक है? Or 50% of the liver is gone. Easier to calculate. Okay? 50% of the liver is gone. मतलब structure कम हो गया 50%. So has function. Function भी 50% हो गया. I hope you guys are following along with the example. So there is a donor, which is the, let's suppose there is a donor and there is a recipient. ठीक है? Donor recipient को एक liver का part दिया. 50% of the liver was given to the recipient. Only an example, okay? Initially this fellow had 100% of liver. है ना, क्या करे 50% इनको दे दिए, तो इनके पास अब 50% आ गया एंड इनके पास 50% बच गया. ओके, नाउ यहाँ पर क्या होता, इन कॉम्पनसेशन फॉर दैट लॉस्ट लिवर, योर बॉडी विल स्टार्ट performing hypoplasia. Liver hypoplasia will occur. So the number of cells, number of hepatocytes will start dividing very, very profusely. And what will happen is, आप ये 50% हो गया बोले तो 1000 cells के बजाय 500 cells बच गए थे ना. If 50% of the liver is given, from 1000 this will become 500 and the function will also remain as 500. Okay. Now यहाँ पर the trick is, as hypoplasia occurs, the size of the liver will no doubt increase, but it will not go back to 100% of its structure. Okay. So it will never go back to 1000 cells. Okay. यहाँ पर initially a person who, before they donated their liver, let's suppose they had 1000 cells in their liver. After donation, even if they recover completely, they will never go back to having 1000 cells. But what will happen is, even if this goes up to, let's suppose, 750 cells, okay? Structure is 750 cells. Each of these cells will perform more than its own function. मतलब initially one cell was performing like one cell, right? एक cell 100% of output दे रहा था, ठीक है? अब क्या होता? Each of these cells, even though there are fewer number of cells, each of these cells will work more than 100%. So imagine each of these cells are working 120%. तो अब आउटपुट क्या आता? 120 into 750 आएगा आपका आउटपुट. तो कितना हो जाएगा? 06 84 90. ठीक है, तो आपको टोटल आउटपुट जो है 90% आता है. आई होप यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द लॉजिक हियर. सी यहाँ पर देखो, वी हैड 500 cells after donating and those 500 cells were functioning as 500 cells. In the donor, once they start recovering, once there is compensatory hyperplasia, okay, what will happen is the number of cells will increase, but only to a limit. It will not go back to the normal size to before it was how it was before donation. Okay, it will increase slightly. Let's suppose it is increasing 3/4. So 750 cells के उतना आ जा रहा है. 3/4 its original size. But functionally, each of those cells, each of those 750 cells will work more than 100%. So क्या होता है? Let's suppose if they are working 120% more than their original capacity, the total output, the total function that you can get out of the liver will increase. So at that point, what will happen is those 750 cells will work as 90% of the liver in case they are working as 120. Agar or let's suppose they are working as if they are working 30% more than they originally were, in that case even higher, maybe up to 100%. वैसा रहता है. Okay, so that is one example of compensatory hyperplasia. एक और example, simpler example would be skin abrasions. If you cut your skin, if there is a little bit of injury in your skin, that skin will recover, right? Even if you don't get scar, let's suppose your skin is recovering. That is a part of compensatory hyperplasia. Okay, so that is another example. Now we'll discuss about pathological hyperplasia and the rest of the adaptations tomorrow. Right? If you have doubts, please